And this is my presentation. Thanks for your attention.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to introduce my research topic, that is the effect of communicative teaching method on students' English speaking ability and attitude. The content part include the introduction, the literature review, and the methodology. First, the purpose of my study is I want to know that students' perception of the communicative language teaching. I'll focus on the factor that may influence students' the ability of speaking English and their attitude. And next, there are three types of varieties are identified. The first is social factors, and the second is affective variables, and the final is personal attributes. The social factors include the interaction between the teachers and the students. And the affective variables include the students' motivation and the students' anxiety. And finally, the last one, the personal attributes include the students' learning styles and their gender. And the goal of my study, I want to investigate that by using the communicative language teaching method, will this teaching method arise students' learning motivation and lower down the students' anxiety for speaking English. And the literature review parts contain four parts. First, I will talk about the communicative language teaching method, and then the interaction between the students and teachers, and then the students' anxiety of speaking English, and the last one is the students' learning motivation. The first part, the communicative language teaching method. Well, actually in recent years, this teaching method has been quite popular, and it was focused on communication skills. So the main task for the teacher to teach is to teach the students how to communicate with others in English. And so it will focus on training the students' speaking skills and listening skills. But however, there's one question have to be considered, that is the environment. Is there a good environment for the student to practice their English? And next, talk about the interactions between the teacher and the student. In the 1993, Skinner and Belmont said, a good student-teacher relationship helps to increase students' motivation. In other words, that a good student-teacher relationship of good quality will benefit a student's learning. For the motivation part, there are two motivational orientation. The first one is the instrumental orientation, and the next is the integrative orientation. And I will give an example to explain this. For example, the first one, if the learner would like to learn French, it's because he considers that if he can speak French, then he has a higher opportunity to get a better job. This is the motivation for the student to learn. This is called instrumental orientation. And for the integrative orientation part is, for example, the student, he had high interest in French. He want to know more about France, about their culture, about their life. This kind of motivation, we call that integrative orientation motivation. And no matter the student belongs to the instrumental orientation or integrative orientation, actually the student will be more concentrate on their learning. They will get higher achievements. And for the anxiety parts, that Rickson and Horowitz in 2002 had said, students' anxiety level is related to speaking activities because they may fear their peers or teachers' judgmental opinions and error correction. And they may also be afraid of appearing stupid in front of the whole class. So I think there's a question we have to think about, because the communicative language teaching have lots of opportunity for the student to talk in front of the stage. So it's very important for the teacher to lower down the student's anxiety. And next, I'm going to introduce the methodology. And first, I will start from introducing my participants. As I just mentioned, for using the communicative language teaching method, there's one thing we have to think about is the environment. So that's the reason I choose my participant in college, because I think that the campus is a good environment for the teacher to use, and it's a good environment for the student to learn. And because this teaching method focuses on the speaking and the listening skills, so this will be a speaking class. And I will divide the participants into groups, and they're going to have a role play activities assignment once a month. The meaning of the role play activities, for example, the teacher select a topic, invitation, and the students are going to create a short situation and complete a short conversation. For example, there are two boys, they're friends, and they're a beautiful girl. Both of the boys like the girl and would like to invite her to join the New Year party. So this is a simple situation. So the student could use this kind of situation to create a conversation, and this is for the role-play activity assignment. And next I'm going to talk about, there are two things I'm going to use for the methodology part. One is the questionnaires, and the other is the oral presentation. And the questionnaires include two parts. The pre-questionnaires, I will ask the student to fill out at the beginning of the semester, and the post-questionnaire will be filled out at the end of the semester. And for the oral presentation, I'm going to focus on the first presentation and the final presentation. I'm going to find out, is there any differences? Did the student improve their pronunciation, their speaking fluencies? I'm going to talk about the questionnaire more. This is the example for the questionnaire. And you can see that I'm going to define 10 questions in Chinese in each of the questionnaires. And you can see that each of the question have 5 word like a type score. That students have 5 choices ranging from 1 to 5. And 1 stands for strongly disagreed, and 5 stands for strongly agreed. And for the pre-questionnaire and the post-questionnaires, actually it will be quite the same, but every question I will change. This is just an example. So I will have to design my own questionnaire for my students.
So different questionnaires for pre-test and post-test?
Not exactly same, because for example at the post-questionnaire I may ask a free question for student. What do you think after this semester? What is your reflection? This is the difference part.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay. And I'm going to use SPSS to analyze the data and to compare with the mean of the pre-questionnaire and the mean of the post-questionnaire to find out is there any significant differences between them. And let's talk about the oral presentation part. I'm going to focus on the first presentation and the final presentation and find out their differences. And I will invite 3 teachers to help me to find, to fill out the evaluation form like this. This is the form that I'm going to design a kind of this form for the teacher to do the evaluation part. For example, student A, do the teacher agree that the student A's pronunciation is very clear? If you do agree that, strongly agree that, then mark at 1. If you strongly disagree this, then mark at 5. I'll use this kind of evaluation form for teachers to score the students' score. And this is for whole my presentation. Is there any questions and suggestions for me?